wait a few more minutes. We can wait a few more minutes, but
Okay, go ahead and record. Okay. All righty, I got 1 minute till, so I'll wait 1 more minute, Wade, if that's okay.
yes, sir. Do you have the intro part you read each time
I got it right here in front of me.
That's great. All right. Thank you.
But since we only have, what's today, the 28th, 24th? It's
Only
gonna
have
be up in 6 days.
Right. It will be.
Thank the good Lord for that. Okay, it's 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for the meeting. I have to read this before the meetings because it's required. So just bear with me. Pursuant to the City of Roanoke Emergency Ordinance adopted by the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization, that's the RVTPO Policy Board, and on April 23rd, 2020 and 2021, Virginia General Assembly legislation SB 1271 passed February the 27th, 2021. The June meeting of the RVTPO will be held virtually via Zoom on Thursday, June 24th, 2021 at 1 p.m. Now, under the current state of emergency and until further notice, it has been deemed unsafe to assemble a quorum of a public body in one place. Any members of the public may view and participate in the meeting through electronic means. Meeting details are listed on the second page of the agenda. All materials made available to the members will be made available to the public at the same time by posting on the RVARC website. And with that, I would like to welcome everyone to today's meeting. I don't have my gavel here at the house, so I'll just say the meeting is open. And at this time, Mr. Strickland, would you do a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Clinton.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Jeffrey called and said he would not be able to make it.
Okay.
Ms. Moon Reynolds.
Sorry, here.
Also, Mr. Fidgelowski said he would not be able to make it today. Mr. North.
I'm here, and Mr. Radford said he'd be a little late.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Turk.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Lyles. Mr. Stovall.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here, Michael.
Okay. Mr. Price. And Mr. Soniclar. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. The agenda item number 2 is the approval of the consent agenda items, which includes the approval of the agenda as well as action on the May 27th RVTPO minutes. And I hope everyone has had an opportunity to look at that. And if you have, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Approve the consent agenda, Stephanie Moon Reynolds.
Okay. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the consent agenda. Any question on that motion? Okay, all in favor, say, we'll have to take a roll
Mr.
call.
Mr. Chairman, you won't be doing this much longer when we
Amen.
start meeting. Okay. Mr. Johnson.
Hold on 1 second, phone link into a place working service.
Mr. Johnson. I guess Mr. Johnson, I know he's here, but Mr. Clinton.
Yes, Mr. Johnson said yes, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Clinton, okay.
Yes. Clinton.
Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moon Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. North,
Yes.
Mayor Turk,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Mr. Gray.
Yes.
Mr. Sonicler.
Yes.
The motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Next, will be some remarks that I would like to share with you. Of course, you heard Mr. Strickland just say that, meeting on Zoom will end this month. We will resume our in-person meetings as of July the 1st, 2021. And I don't know about you all, but I'll be so glad to see that again. I enjoy personal contact, and between my eye and trying to get these computers working, it'll be less stressful for me. One of the first thing I have to say is with the, of course, the emergency order on having the Zoom meetings will end July 1st, and we'll continue to monitor state and federal guidance concerning social distancing and masking and vaccination rates to determine if future meetings will need to be held at locations other than the Regional Commission boardroom. And board members and the public will be notified of any location changes when agenda packets are sent out. The lifting of the state of emergency also means an end to remote participation in our public meetings, except under very limited circumstances, including illness. And if a board member's primary residence is 60 or more miles away from the meeting location, such remote participation is limited to 4 times a year and requires notification to and approval from the chair prior to the meeting. And we look forward to seeing everyone again under the same roof, thank goodness. Second thing I have, the Regional Commission staff are finalizing application materials for the upcoming round of our next STBG application period. An email will be sent notifying stakeholders when the application is available, and applications will be due September the 24th. The staff anticipates at least $12.7 million will be available for the policy board to consider allocating. Now, this includes $2.3 million that was not allocated during the FY 22 through 27 cycle. The new year 6, which is FY 28, and year 7, which is FY 29, estimated at $5.2 million each. One other announcement I would like to make. The Regional Commission is pleased to welcome a new member, Mr. William Long III, to its staff. Mr. Long holds a Master of Urban and Regional Planning from Virginia Tech and a Bachelor of Arts Communication from North Carolina State University. He was previously a transportation planner for the Rock Hill, Fort Mill TPO in South Carolina, and most recently worked for Total Action for Progress here in Roanoke. I should know him. I'm on the board for TAP. I don't know if I would recognize him or not, but it's good to have him here. Mr. Long will be assisting with the regional transportation planning and programming efforts, including the Roanoke Valley Transportation Plan, the Transportation Improvement Plan Program, Smart Scale, STBG, corridor studies, and many other initiatives. So we want to welcome William to the staff at the Roanoke Valley TPO and Regional Commission, and look forward to working with you. So it's good to have you with us. Agenda item number 4, I need to appoint a nominating committee for the officers for 2021. And I would like for these individuals to serve on that committee, if you will. 2 of these gentlemen not here, but first one is Steve Fijalowski. I would like to have him to chair that committee, David Radford, and Stephanie Moon Reynolds. If all of you could serve on that committee, I would certainly appreciate it. And Oh, me, I just lost my video here. Am I still on board? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can
yes,
hear
sir.
you.
See you too.
Okay, there we go. Okay, here we are. All right. So if you can't serve on that committee, please let me know so I can put someone else on there. My next agenda item is an overview of the FTA 5310 grant program, and Brian Hill, I believe, is going to do the presentation on that for us. So Brian, if you would take it, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Will do. Let me go ahead and share my screen a few minutes here, and we'll talk just briefly about the FTA 5310 program. All righty. And the purpose of this really is today is just to prior to our amendment is to give you all just a which is adding a new project, which is one of the three projects we'll talk about here that applied for 5310 funding. So I wanted to give you all just a brief overview of the program itself and the applications this round, and then that will hopefully provide some context for the next item. So just looking at this at just a glance here, the Federal Transit Administration 5310 program has a couple different types of funding. It funds capital, operating, and mobility management. So it's vehicles and equipment and operating costs for transportation services and alternatives. These projects for vehicles will follow the specific procurement and purchasing processes developed by DRPT. The operating mobility management and other capital projects are all on a reimbursement basis for eligible expenses. Typically in June, the CTB approves DRPT's 6-year improvement program, and that is exactly what happened yesterday. At the CTV meeting, the funding is usually available on October 1st, and then those projects have a 12-month demonstration period. Any funds not used after September 30th will be deobligated. So the three projects that the three applications and the subsequent projects that are in the 6-year improvement program are from applicants at Lutheran Family Services, now known as Encircle, to purchase one 5-passenger van with ramps, Radar, which is a constant reoccurring applicant, to purchase 2 9-passenger raised roof vans and to apply for annual operating assistance. And this year, a new applicant, Roanoke County, for operating assistance to run their Cortran service from January 12th, 22 to September 30th, 22. So this is how the projects kind of broke out in terms of the Encircle, the Lutheran Services project for the vehicle. It's under a rural category, and that was at a cost of $55,000. And a couple of things about the 5310 program. Number one, the TPO receives an annual federal allocation, and so those funds are available for the applicants to apply for that are in the urbanized area. This year was obviously a little different for a variety of reasons, insofar as that there were some additional funds through the coronavirus, and I'm not going to get this acronym right without looking at it, the CRRSA, the Relief Act, that essentially provided additional funding, and as a result, there's typically a local match along with federal funds. There was no required match locally, and you'll see that reflected with the little dash with the 0 here in all these projects. So looking in the large urban category, which is defined by DRPT, Radar received $130,000 for 2 replacement vehicles at $65,000 apiece. And then with the program operating grants, again in the large urban category, Radar received $65,006 from that 5310 pot for operating assistance, and Roanoke County $119,008. So that's the where we are with that program, and just wanted to give you all just a little bit of background before we go on to the next item, which is the TIP amendment.
All right, thank you, Brian. Is any questions or comments concerning Brian's presentation on the FTA 5310 grant? Okay, if not, then we'll go to agenda item number 6, which is an amendment to the FY 2021-2024 Transportation Improvement Program, Roanoke County. Let's see, core train service. Okay, Brian, you're going to be handling that one too, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you would think that this is the Brian Hill show with the background, and there's no red carpet. So I assure you, there's no red carpet here for the show.
Well, I'm going to have to give you a better introduction if that's.
Well, my request, Mr. Chair, for a disco ball in my office keeps getting declined. So maybe one day.
Okay.
But thank you. As we had mentioned to you all in a month or so back, as you release this draft amendment for the public comment, this amendment does include just a single request to amend the Transportation Improvement Program to add a new project, which we just talked about, the Roanoke County's Cortran 5310 service. The total project award, as I mentioned, is $119,008, and it was funded in the 6-year improvement program, which was just adopted yesterday by the CTB, with 100% federal funds. And at your May 27th meeting, you all released it for public comment. The TTC at their June 10th meeting recommended approval of the amendment. And from June 10th to June 23rd, just yesterday, we held a, pursuant to the participation plan that's adopted, a public participation plan here for the RVTPO. We held a 14-day public comment period, and I will inform you that yesterday we received one comment, the only comment on this amendment. It was in the form of a letter of support from Roanoke County, and that will be attached to the minutes and will be reflected in next month's agenda packet. So at this point, we would request that the board consider approving the amendment to the 21-24 TIP for this Roanoke County Cortran service.
Okay, so you need approval on that, is that correct?
Yes, and I believe the next item is the public hearing on this matter.
Okay. All right, so we need to do a public hearing. Before we go into the public hearing, is there any comments or discussion on this? Okay, if not, I'll open the public hearing. And is there anyone signed up to speak? Mr. Strickland?
No, sir, I don't believe we have anyone who's called in or written us about that, except for
Any
the Roanoke County.
comments from anyone in the room? If not, then we'll close the public hearing. And do I hear a motion to approve?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda item number 7.
Okay.
Second.
And-
Sorry.
and Mr. Chair, for
Who made the
clarification,
second?
Mr. Chair, for clarification purposes, the resolution of approval does follow in packet in this staff report. So the motion should reflect the approval and adoption of the resolution.
Second.
All right, so we do have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, can we have a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Clinton?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mayor Turk?
Yes.
Mr. Stovall?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Sonicler?
Yes.
The motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, and that was agenda item number 7. Am I not correct? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it was.
Agenda item number 8 is any other business from the TPO members?
Hey, this is Kevin Jones, Federal Highway. I wanted just to ask the question about, I heard the comments about the going back to in-person meetings. As far as public involvement, has any consideration been given to keeping the virtual participation open for the public, should they not wish to be able to come in?
Mr. Secretary, what do we want to do on that? I would
Yes, sir.
assume if somebody doesn't want to, they could call in or get on the Zoom.
If they're a voting member, then they have to abide by the requirements passed by the General Assembly. And I think you read that in your opening statement when we talked about opening back up after July 1st. We're looking at all the options about how to best handle that. And Mr. Jones and our new executive director, Jeremy Holmes, will be pondering the possibilities with that. And I don't know, Jeremy, do you want to make a comment?
We are investigating that, doing the hybrid in-person plus virtual public participation, things like the hearings that just took place. There's a bit of a technology challenge there, but we've got some staff that are investigating how to do that. I think we would like to, but we're just trying to figure out if and how we can make that work.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Any other business to come before the TPO? Okay, if not, then we'll have comment period by RVTPO policy board members and or the public. And I see Mr. Radford is in now. Mr. Radford, it never pays to be late. I put you on a laminating committee, so you're stuck.
Uh-oh.
Just want to let you know that. But is there any comments from anybody in the RVTPO policy board or the public? And that's probably one of the world's shortest meetings on a TPO. Okay, if not, I'll just go ahead if there's no other comment. Who? Did I hear somebody? Oh, if not, then I'll just go ahead and adjourn the meeting. And it's been good seeing every one of you. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you.